Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you found this video, it means there's something you want to learn, maybe English, maybe music, coding, design, or public speaking. And somewhere deep inside, you felt that same frustration. Why does learning feel so hard for me? Why do I forget so easily? Why does everyone else seem to learn faster than I do? Maybe you've even whispered to yourself, maybe I'm just not smart enough. But listen carefully, that voice inside your head is lying to you. You are not slow. You are not broken. You were simply never shown how learning actually works. The truth is, our entire system of education has been built backward. We were taught to memorize facts we didn't care about, tested on what we barely understood, and punished for forgetting. We were told to repeat, not to rethink. We were taught to study harder, not smarter. But that changes today. This is not another motivational talk. It's a map, a real science-based roadmap to help you learn anything faster. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to do but why it works, and you'll feel confident enough to begin. So stay with me, because the problem has never been you. The problem is the method you've been using, and together we're about to fix that. Let's begin. Step 1. Define what you want with clarity, not wishes. Most people begin learning with vague dreams. I want to learn English. I want to get better at marketing. I want to play guitar. That's not a goal, that's a wish. And the brain doesn't follow wishes, it follows direction. Think of your brain as a GPS system. If you type somewhere nice, it can't take you there. But if you say, I want to speak English fluently with native speakers in 6 months, the brain says, got it, let's go. Clarity turns confusion into focus. Let's say your goal is English. Don't say, I want to learn English. Say, I want to confidently introduce myself in under a minute. Or, I want to understand 80% of movies without subtitles. Now your mind knows exactly what success looks like. Why does this work so well? Because your brain is goal-oriented. When it has a clear destination, it activates something called the reticular activating system, a built-in filter that highlights what matters and ignores what doesn't. It's like your mental spotlight. That's why people with clear, specific goals progress faster, while those with vague intentions stay stuck. Before you start learning anything, ask yourself, what exactly do I want to be able to do? What does success look like after 30 days? Can I describe it simply, as if explaining to a child? If you can't answer that, stop everything. Because the first step of learning isn't studying, it's deciding. Once your direction is clear, your energy finally has a path. And that's the moment real learning begins. Step 2. Deconstruct the skill, grow one branch at a time. Imagine trying to learn a whole forest. Impossible, right? You start with a leaf, then a branch, then a tree. Learning works the same way. Let's say your goal is to give a short English presentation. Most people immediately try to practice the entire speech, stumble, forget lines, and feel overwhelmed. But that's like trying to build the whole forest at once. Here's the smarter way: break it down like a tree. Root, vocabulary, the base of communication. Trunk, sentence patterns and grammar flow. Branches, common topics, self-introduction, opinions, storytelling, questions. Leaves, the surface skills, pronunciation, tone, confidence, speed. Now you learn one part at a time. Day 1-3, only practice introducing yourself. Day 4-6, talk about your hobbies. Day 7-9, learn to ask and answer basic questions. Each element is small, measurable, and achievable. Once the roots are strong, the branches grow naturally. This works because of chunking. Your brain learns faster when big ideas are broken into small, connected units. Chunking increases focus and reduces anxiety. Instead of thinking, I must learn everything, you think, I'm just working on this one leaf today. That's how you learn faster, calmer, and smarter. Whether it's English, coding, or guitar, remember this. Don't climb the whole mountain at once. Build it one stone at a time. Step 3. Think from first principles, not from copying. Most people don't actually learn, they imitate. They watch what others do and copy the surface. It feels productive until something changes. Then they freeze. True learning begins when you stop asking, how do they do it? And start asking, why does this work? This is called first principles thinking, breaking something down to its basic truths and rebuilding it from the ground up. Elon Musk used it to learn rocket science without a degree. He didn't ask, how do other companies make rockets? He asked, what is a rocket made of? Why does it cost so much? What are the real physics behind it? And from those answers, he built SpaceX. When you learn through first principles, you become the creator, not the copier. Let's compare. Wrong way. I'll copy exactly what my boss says on a sales call. Right way. Why does my boss start with a question? What emotion is he trying to trigger? What problem is he solving before the client even asks? See the difference? You're not repeating, you're reasoning. Blind copying creates dependence. First principle thinking builds mastery. When you understand the why, you can adapt the how anytime. Step 4. Double the doing, have the watching. Here's one of the biggest lies of modern learning. If I consume enough information, I'll become smart. If that were true, every YouTube watcher would be a millionaire, and everyone who listens to English podcasts would be fluent. But watching doesn't equal learning. Listening doesn't equal skill. Reading doesn't equal transformation. You don't learn to swim by watching someone else swim. You learn by getting in the water. So here's the rule. For every minute you spend consuming, spend 2 minutes doing. If you watch a 30-minute English lesson, spend 60 minutes practicing it. Pause every few minutes, say the sentences out loud, record yourself. Imitate the accent, write new examples, use them in conversation. Your brain doesn't change through observation, it changes through action. Same with any skill. Learning Photoshop. Watch 5 minutes, then apply it immediately. Make mistakes, fix them, and repeat. You'll progress faster than someone who watches 10 tutorials and never opens the software. Why? Because watching activates passive memory, the kind that fades fast. Doing activates procedural memory, the kind that builds habits and stays for life. Information gives you the map. Action teaches you the terrain, and no map can replace walking the road yourself. Step 5. Use the 10-0-hour rule the right way. You've probably heard that it takes 10 hours to master something. That's true, but dangerously misunderstood. Most people think, okay, if I just practice long enough, I'll become an expert. But if you practice the wrong way for 10 hours, you don't become a master, you just become stuck. Think about driving. You've probably spent thousands of hours doing it. Are you improving anymore? Probably not, because you're repeating, not refining. The key is what psychologist Anders Ericsson called deliberate practice. It's not about time. It's about tension, that sweet spot between comfort and challenge. Deliberate practice means you push yourself slightly beyond your current ability. You get feedback and adjust in real time. You measure progress instead of guessing. That's where growth lives, not in routine, but in refinement. Let's say you're learning to cook. The wrong way, repeat the same recipe forever. The right way, try something a bit harder each week. Use a new spice, invite feedback, keep notes, and fix what went wrong. That's how 10 hours become transformation. Because mastery isn't just repetition, it's evolution. Step 6. The 20-hour kickstart formula. Now let's flip the idea. Maybe you're not aiming for mastery, you just want to get good enough to start. That's where the 20-hour rule, popularized by Josh Kaufman, comes in. With just 20 hours, about 45 minutes a day for a month, you can go from zero to surprisingly good at almost anything. Not world-class, not perfect, but confident enough to begin. That's the power of starting. Most people never even reach hour 10. Here's how the 20-hour plan might look if you're learning piano. Hours 1-2, learn finger placement and keys. Hours 3-5, practice each hand separately. Hours 6-9, combine both slowly. Hours 10-15, add rhythm and timing. Hours 16-18, record yourself, fix mistakes. Hours 19-20, play for someone and refine again. By day 30, you can play your first song, proof that you can learn. That small victory rewires your brain with confidence, and confidence becomes momentum. So pick your skill, writing, design, coding, speaking, and give yourself 20 focused hours. No perfection, just progress. Because once you start, you've already beaten 90% of people who never do. Step 7. Research each subtask deeply. You've set a goal, broken it down, started doing, great. Now go deeper. Most people research only the main topic, not the parts inside it. They say, I want to learn photography, then watch one big tutorial and stop. But mastery hides in the details. A smart learner asks, what are the small components inside this big skill? For photography, it could be lighting, framing, lens choice, color balance, storytelling. Then you research each one separately. 15 minutes per sub-skill can save you weeks of frustration. The same applies to cooking, design, or editing. If you're learning video editing, don't just learn the tool, study cutting, rhythm, transitions, color grading, sound design, typography. Watch how professionals do it, then pause and ask, why did they make that choice? What feeling does that create? This isn't watching, it's dissecting. And that's how deep learners rise above average ones. Surface learners memorize steps. Deep learners understand patterns. When you master the small things, the big thing becomes easy. Step 8. Practice in public, not in secret. Here's a truth few people want to face. You can't learn everything in private. Most learners hide. They say, I'll show my work when it's perfect. But perfection never arrives, and so neither does progress. Growth happens under light, not in shadows. When you practice publicly, by posting your sketches, speaking online, sharing your drafts, 3 magical things happen. First, pressure sharpens your focus. When you know someone is watching, you bring your best self forward. Second, you get feedback, not fantasy. Real reactions from real people show you what's working and what's not. Third, your fear of judgment starts to disappear. Every time you share something imperfect, your courage grows. If you want to start a YouTube channel, don't wait for the perfect camera. Post your first 30-second video today, then another tomorrow. You'll learn more in 3 days of action than in 3 months of hiding. Because the fastest learners aren't the smartest, they're the most visible. Step 9. Teach to learn. Want to know the most powerful learning hack in history? Teach. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to explain what you understand. When you teach, your brain is forced to organize thoughts, fill gaps, and connect ideas logically. It's like cleaning a messy room. Suddenly you see where everything belongs. The great physicist Richard Feynman used this exact approach. He said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't really understand it. Here's how to use the Feynman technique. 1. Study the topic. 2. Pretend you're teaching it to a child. 3. Write your explanation in plain words. 4. Wherever you get stuck, review and simplify again. Do this weekly for everything you learn: a new grammar rule, a design trick, a concept in business, and you'll never forget it again. Because teaching transforms recognition into recall. It's the difference between knowing something and owning it. When you can teach it, you've mastered it. Step 10. Stop multitasking. Focus deeply. We live in the noisiest age in history. Dozens of tabs, endless notifications, constant distractions. And then we wonder why our focus keeps breaking. Let's be honest. Multitasking is not a strength. It's a weakness disguised as productivity. Science calls it cognitive switching cost. Every time you jump between tasks, your brain loses speed and memory strength. It's like trying to boil water while turning the flame off every few seconds. It never boils. The world's top performers know this secret. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players, trained for hours with complete silence. No music, no phone, no audience. When asked why, he said, "Why would I mix it up before I've mastered the basics?" That's deep work, full attention, no distraction. So next time you study or practice, close your tabs. Put your phone in another room. Set a 40-minute timer. Then work only on one thing completely. You'll learn in hours what others take days to absorb. Even Bill Gates does this once a year, a think week, with no emails, no meetings, just reading and reflection. He says it's the most productive time of his life. You don't need a week. You just need 1 hour of silence daily, because silence isn't empty, it's focus. And focus is where transformation lives. Step 11. Build identity, not just willpower. Have you ever said, "I want to learn this, but I need to be more disciplined"? Then 2 days later, you stop and feel guilty. The issue isn't willpower, it's identity. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explained this perfectly. He told a story about 2 people trying to quit smoking. One says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The other says, "No thanks, I don't smoke." Both said no, but one still identifies as a smoker, the other as a non-smoker. Who do you think succeeds? The second one, because behavior follows identity. So instead of saying, "I'm trying to learn guitar," say, "I'm a musician in training." Instead of "I'm forcing myself to code," say, "I'm a builder." When you identify as a learner, learning becomes natural. Change your language, change your environment, change your symbols. Join a community of learners. Label your folder "My Creations," not "Practice Stuff." Tell yourself, "I'm the kind of person who learns every day." Discipline fades. Identity endures. Once learning becomes part of who you are, you'll never need motivation again. Step 12. Fall in love with repetition. Every master you admire, athlete, musician, writer, built their greatness on one boring truth: repetition. People love excitement, variety, novelty, but mastery hides in monotony. Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10-0 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10-0 times." That's the secret. Repetition wires excellence into your nervous system. Each time you repeat, your brain strengthens a neural pathway, a process called myelination. Those pathways become faster, smoother, automatic. Repetition turns effort into instinct. But here's the hard part: it feels boring. That's where most people quit. The great ones smile and keep going. They know that boredom is the gate to brilliance. So track your small wins. If you practice a piano scale 30 times today, aim for 31 tomorrow. Add gamification, set streaks, use timers, reward consistency. Say to yourself, "This is the moment others give up and I won't." Fall in love with the process, not the applause. Because genius is nothing but patience repeated 1,000 times. Step 13. Build brain anchors. Connect new with old. Your brain doesn't remember isolated facts. It remembers connections, stories, patterns, emotions. Think of it like a spider web. Every new idea sticks only if it connects to an old thread. When you try to memorize information blindly, it slips away. But when you anchor it to something familiar, it lasts. Let's say you're learning compound interest. If you just memorize the formula, you'll forget it in days. But if you think of it as a tree, one that grows faster each year because each branch creates new branches, you'll never forget it. That's a visual anchor. You can also use story anchors. Turn facts into small stories or analogies. Emotion anchors. Link it to something that moved you. Location anchors. Remember where you learned it. I read this on the balcony at sunset. Routine anchors. Tie new knowledge to daily habits. I review vocabulary after lunch. Anchored knowledge sticks. Unanchored knowledge fades. So whenever you learn something new, ask, what does this remind me of? What picture or story can I connect this to? That's how you build a memory that lasts a lifetime. Step 14. Track progress like a scientist. Most people don't know if they're improving, they just hope they are. They learn randomly, practice inconsistently, and then say, I don't think I'm getting better. But progress is not a feeling. Progress is a record. Track your learning like a scientist, not a student. Create a progress log or digital folder. Each week, record what you practiced, what confused you, what improved. Label your work with dates. Week 3. Grammar drills, still weak on prepositions. Review monthly. Compare old to new. Celebrate tiny gains. 1% every week adds up to mastery. Tracking gives your brain proof, and proof creates motivation. When you see your own growth in writing, you stop doubting your ability. Numbers don't lie, and progress that's visible becomes progress that lasts. Final message: you were never slow. You were never bad at learning. You were simply never taught the right way. But now you know. You know how to define goals clearly, how to break skills into pieces, how to practice deeply, track progress, and build identity, how to teach, anchor, and fall in love with repetition. You know how to learn, truly learn anything fast. So no more waiting, no more someday. Start today. Because from this moment on, you are not just a learner, you are a creator. You are a transformer of knowledge into power. And one day soon, your future self will look back and say, that was the day everything changed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.